My lovely unicorns, I hope you're doing well. Today I bring you Skul, the Hero Slayer, developed by Southpaw Games, is a pixel roguelike that sets itself apart from the myriad of similar titles flooding the indie gaming scene. Let's jump into it. With its unique premise, addictive gameplay mechanics, and charming aesthetic, Skul manages to carve out its own niche in the genre, delivering an experience that is both challenging and immensely rewarding. The Demon King is captured and the underworld is in disarray due to humanity and the main hero coming down and wrecking everything. You play as Skul, a lowly skeleton soldier that manages to survive the assault, and with the help of a witch and others you meet along the way, you set out to free the Demon King, but not is all as it seems. At its heart, Skul is a side-scrolling action game with roguelike elements. You must traverse through various levels filled with enemies, traps, and obstacles. What sets Skul apart is its innovative character swapping mechanic. Skul possesses the ability to swap his skull, effectively his class, each offering different abilities and playstyles, from being a clown to being a werewolf. Each skull can upgrade to unlock new abilities from common skulls to legendary, which I'll touch on more shortly. The mechanic adds a layer of depth and strategy, as players must adapt their tactics based on the skulls they acquire on the fly. Each run you will try to get a little further, and each time you will, well, possibly at least, learning new enemies and bosses' movesets along the way. The game gets very challenging though, throughout its 5 areas, and you will die countless times while trying to gain a little more insight each time. To assist with alleviating the challenge somewhat, you get dark quartz each run. The further you go, the more dark quartz you obtain. This is a permanent currency not lost after a run, which you can then spend to upgrade traits to permanently add additions to your next runs. Or you can save them and use them for cosmetic changes later in the game, or to even buy items in the market area during runs. This is assisted by multiple NPCs you unlock shortly after arriving into each area, who will then give you random starting items per run or buff you to assist the next playthrough. But of course, this game is a roguelike, and it's full of randomness from its plethora of items down to the very skulls which spawn, and even the doorways to enter, which will determine the rewards at the end of each level depending on the doorway type, and even the mini-bosses known as adventurers, which feature midway through each area. The bosses, however, at the end of each area remain constant. The combat in Skul is fast-paced and satisfying, with each skill throwing its own weight, and ultimately will come down to your playstyle. Players can execute combos between their skulls by swapping them in and out to gain additional benefits, and using their skills and swap back to the previous skull shortly after, which can add layers to build complexity. Basically, skill swapping. The game rewards skillful play and punishes reckless behavior, encouraging players to approach each encounter with caution and precision, especially in later areas where it can be quite unforgiving, but never unfair. In each area, you can rescue certain NPCs from cages, which can grant unique events, award items, or even change your skills. Every so often you'll run into Arachne, a spider who will transform your skull, in its rarity granting additional effects and skills. This comes at the price of bones, which typically are obtained by destroying skulls instead of actually equipping them. Each bone price differs depending on its rarity. Sometimes it will take multiple areas to complete before you get one skull to legendary status. It all boils down to chance. And having your skull upgraded is crucial to most builds. I generally found myself gravitating towards the bone doorways as often as possible, especially in the beginning, to get some crucial upgrades to my skull that I'm deciding to play with. Gold is a resource you will need to balance during a playthrough, as costs of things increase each area, and you'll generally be spending it at the marketplace to purchase items or food. Food is one of the few ways to heal outside of combat, whereby in combat you generally rely on enemies dropping healing orbs, as your HP doesn't magically regenerate during your runs, furthering emphasizing skillful play. Items can be build defining, and every item not only has its own perks like damage increases or status effects, but come with 2 additional perks to be built in terms of sets, whereby adding additional powers the more of each set that you collect. All this complements together to create builds, and Skul's dedicated online community have a range of ideas from best builds for general use and boss builds to speedrun builds for every Skul in the game. The level design in Skul is another area where the game shines. Each level is procedurally generated, ensuring that no 2 playthroughs are ever the same. The environments are beautifully crafted with vibrant pixel art that bring the world of Skul to life in a way that feels retro yet modern. The animations are smooth and fluid, adding a sense of weight and impact to each action. This is backed up by a cool little soundtrack, and the limited voice narration is done by a South Korean woman after each boss battle. Accompanying the visuals is an impressive yet forgettable soundtrack. The music in Skul is dynamic and atmospheric, complementing the action on screen. From epic orchestral themes to catchy chiptune melodies, the soundtrack is a joy to listen to and enhances the overall experience of the game. However, I cannot for the life of me remember it after I put down the controller. Skul is not for the faint of heart. The game is challenging with unforgiving enemies and some brutal boss battles that will push players to the limit. However, this challenge is what makes Skul so rewarding to play. Just kind of like a Dark Souls game that when you finish the boss you feel good, because each victory feels hard earned, and overcoming seemingly insurmountable odds is incredibly satisfying. Furthermore, Skul offers a high level of replayability. This is aided by its procedurally generated levels, like I discussed before, vast array of skulls to collect, and general randomness or RNG. Even after the main story, there is a hard mode which layers in difficulty through what's known as the Dark Mirror, and this ramps up to level 10, which is where the real game is meant to take place, at least according to the dedicated community. Even without going up against this, you can try succeed in each run with different skulls or team, speedrun it, or try different builds each time to maximize time spent in the game. Players will find themselves coming back to Skul time and time again. In conclusion, Skul the Hero Slayer is a pixelated gem that deserves a place among the pantheon of great gaming indie roguelikes. With its innovative gameplay mechanics, addictive progression systems, and overall charming presentation, Skul offers a unique gaming experience that is addictive, challenging, and immensely satisfying. Whether you're a fan of roguelikes or just looking for a fun and engaging action game, Skul is sure to delight and entertain. Skul the Hero Slayer, a pixelated symphony of roguelike brilliance. I recommend.